Police have smashed in a car window to arrest Eve Black, a coronavirus skeptic who posted a video of herself breaching a Melbourne checkpoint. Here's a reminder of what she did.
I don't need to answer your questions. No. Have I committed a crime? Pardon? Have I committed a crime? Have I committed a crime? Thank you.
Yeah, well, they caught up with her yesterday. She's now been arrested. And for more, we are joined by legal expert Justin Quill in Melbourne. Justin, thanks for your time this morning. I mean, first up, though, you are in lockdown. I assume you're doing the right thing. How do you feel about this woman's actions?
Look, it's frustrating, I guess, and you know, given that I'm on a live television show, I'll be careful with my language. But frustrating is an understatement, to be frank. But look, everyone's trying to do the right thing. I've got my mask here. We've got an exemption where it's important for people to be able to hear us, so that's why I have the mask off for the moment while I'm doing this cross. But as soon as I've finished it, I'll be putting it back on. And if everyone does the right thing, you know, we will get on top of it. But when you see people flouting the laws, and especially we just heard what we heard about the Queensland situation, it is frustrating to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, it's appalling action. I mean, that was video that was taken last week. She was so proud of herself for that. Yesterday, police caught up with her. They smashed her window when she again refused to provide any details. Plenty of people this morning saying good on them. What's she being charged with?
Yeah, and look, it's important to note that what happened yesterday is obviously a very separate incident to the one that we saw the video of a moment ago. Look, she's been charged, she's been released, and there's a summons on its way to her. So a little bit like the checks in the mail for her. Unfortunately for her, the summons is in the mail. It's driving offences. It's failure to produce a licence with identifying details, and also failure to comply with the directives of the Chief Medical Officer. So that's what she's going to be charged with.
Well, we've been talking about these two teenagers in Queensland and whether or not the punishment fits the crime. In regards to what Eve Black has done here, what can she be charged with? I mean, what can she be fined, and what is the potential punishment?
Yeah, I mean, it's an unusual situation. This is very different to normal circumstances where someone walking down the street, the police can't just stop you and ask you for identification unless they think you have committed a crime or about to commit a crime. But we are in a state of emergency at the moment. That's been officially declared. And in Victoria, for example, there's a particular act, the Health and Wellbeing Act, and that sets out all the provisions that apply when we're under a state of emergency. And so where you don't follow the directives of the Chief Medical Officer, Brett Sutton in the case of Victoria, and his delegates, so Victoria Police, then you can be fined some pretty serious fines. Now, at the moment, if I was to walk down the street without a mask, I would be up for 10 penalty units. That's about $1,652, but you can be fined up to 120 penalty units. So it's nearly $20,000 if you continue to flout those laws. So the fines can get pretty serious. 1,652 might not seem like a lot if you don't follow those directives, but they can get ramped up if you continue to do so. Not wearing a mask is $200. It's a lower fine, but other things like going through checkpoints and things like that, it's the 1,652.
Well, hopefully it sends a strong message to these COVID skeptics to do the right thing and do it for all of us. Thanks for joining us this morning, Justin.
You said that the pandemic is disappearing, but we lost 6,000 Americans this week. And just in this room, you have dozens of people. You're not following the guidelines in New Jersey, which say you should not have more than 25.
No, they don't have. It's a political activity.
Why are you saying such a bad example?
You're wrong on that because it's a political activity. They have exceptions, political activity, and it's also a peaceful protest. So when you have, and as you know, they asked if they could be, you know, a number of, and to me they look like they all have, pretty much all have masks on, but, you know, you have an exclusion in the law. It says peaceful protest or political activity, right? In fact, specifically, yeah, it says exactly political activity or peaceful protest. And you can call it political activity, but I'd call it peaceful protest because they heard you were coming up. And they know the news is fake. They understand it better than anybody. And they asked whether or not...
Agenda 21 is coming soon.
If the press in this country were honest, it wasn't corrupt, if it wasn't fake, our country would be so much further ahead. But we're doing really great. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much.
At the beginning of the 21st century, the Umbrella Corporation had become the largest commercial entity in the United States. 9 out of every 10 homes contain its products. Its political and financial influence is felt everywhere. In public, it is the world's leading supplier of computer technology, medical products, and healthcare. Unknown even to its own employees, its massive profits are generated by military technology, genetic experimentation, and viral weaponry.
You're all going to die down here.